the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
I received a note from a young man who was struggling with an LGBTQ identity. I want to share a little bit about it, or part of it with you, because it speaks to how we need to approach this issue. He said, "Not only have you left a major impact on myself, but also with the talks we've been privileged to hear. I greatly admire your bravery and humility, especially in regards to topics you speak on. Prior to the first talk I heard from you, I heard a talk from someone else about common LGBTQ questions. Being that this is a cross I carry, this talk hit home in not a pleasant way. It was like everyone, especially that other speaker, had such a hatred for the LGBT community, not taking into account the struggle that persists every day that can be so difficult for a devout Catholic." He said, "A week later, I attended your talk where your same topic, the LGBTQ, touched on, and I genuinely felt love emitted from the message. From there, I started listening to your podcast, and it has been so refreshing to hear the truth being proclaimed over what society constantly spreads. Truly, your courage and devotion has inspired me greatly." So I'm looking at this note, and I wanted to share it because the topic of being lesbian, being gay, being trans, being queer, being cis, being whatever you are supposed to label yourself with today, although it may seem like it's getting a little bit better, the younger generation is engulfed in this identity crisis from living in a virtual reality with perpetual technology at their fingertips and their eyeballs and their ears. And I mean, we even talk to our technology now. And I think that our approach to how we evangelize as Catholics, and this really comes back to the last question someone asked of how do I approach and deal with friends and family who are living different values from the church, from what Christ told us. We have to do it with love. We tell the truth with love. I have never actually had someone be angry at me for saying there's such a difference between a man and a woman. And I think it's because I try really, really hard to do it in a way that shows I'm telling you the truth because I care about you. Because we're about winning people, not an argument, not just a legal battle, not just a Supreme Court case. All of those things are wonderful. To win a debate and feel like you aced it are excellent. But let me tell you, I remember I was debating the feminist professor at Cal State San Marcos, I don't know, 10 plus years ago. And we had this formal debate process and we were debating, I think the topic was abortion. And yeah, it was abortion. And something that kind of came up in the midst of her points, and just so you know, she gave extra credit to all of her students in her liberal feminist women's studies program to attend the lecture. So there were like 5 pro-life people and 300 very, very aggressive pro-feminist individuals in the room. And they were all kinds of colors when it came to ideologies in there that are not Catholic ideologies. And what stood out to me in that was there was a point where she said that she had an unplanned pregnancy and chose abortion, although she would never have an abortion. And she's so grateful for her child. She was viscerally fighting for legal abortion in that debate. And so I completely dropped the arguments and the best arguments and cross-examination and making my points, and I ignored some of the things she fired against me after answering the should someone be able to abort a baby because raped question over and over, and I answered it so many times. And I just looked at her, and during my next opportunity that I should be quote-unquote defending myself and my ideology, and I looked at her and I said, "Can you tell me about your daughter? How old is she? And what happened when you found out you were pregnant?" This woman's posture changed. The warmth in her voice changed. She told that room, who were there because they were her student, about her unplanned pregnancy and her life as a mom and how she would never regret it. This same exact woman who was there defending legal abortion. And I say that because we have to be willing to let go of the fight. That doesn't mean we don't have a fight within us for truth and for people and for love and for God, but we have to let go of the fight and being right and having the right words and the best statistics. You know, I'm looking at this letter from this young man, we'll call him A. He is saying, I heard another Catholic speaker talk about the LGBTQ issue, and he felt hatred. It didn't come across right. And yet when he heard what I said, he felt like he was loved. He felt encouraged. And it was genuine. Are we genuine when we're engaging with people on some of the most sensitive topics of our culture? Are we saying and standing by there's a difference between man and woman? Are we standing by the fact that no one should be given hormones and puberty blockers that damage who and what we are, and that God created us with a purpose? And that we even acknowledge the suffering that occurs when there is disorientation and discord within ourselves. For a young woman, she was about 13 years old, and she came up to me one summer and she kept going, I know what the church teaches about gender, but I'm just not happy being a girl and becoming a woman. I hate it. I hate it. And she didn't need me to sit here saying, well, there's a difference between male and female and blah, 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 blah. She just needed someone to listen to her. And then someone to also say, and in this case, I knew her parents, to say, hey, have you talked to your parents just about how you're feeling? And that you're not sitting here saying, I want to transition. You hate what you're experiencing right now in this season in life. And have you approached it in that way? These conversations that when identity is in crisis, when we are tempted to sin, do people feel like they can come to us and share their failings, their faults? Because that's what Christ does. He says, come to confession and be healed by the blood of the Lamb. And when we are compassionate and loving and still tell the truth, we are inspiring others to live out their faith, to go running to God for confession, for reconciliation, and to seek healing in Him because other people believe that it was possible in me.